Hey, it's Curly. Fighters Collection 2 is finally out, and we've got a bunch of brand new tools to play with, including Witches for Oracle Think Tank. So, oh, okay, maybe this won't be so bad. I saw Neonuk there and I was like, oh man, I just want to record a video, be able to show off this deck. But this is actually Musketeers. I've actually wanted to build Musketeers from the support they got in Try 3 Next, or whatever that box is called, but I just don't have a lot of pieces and I have no materials to craft them, so that won't be coming anytime soon. But instead we're playing Oracle Think Tank today. We're actually playing Witches. Witches is an archetype that is very... I don't know, me and Witches have a very complicated history. Because I remember in set like 4, I think it was a very big set for Vanguard 0, because that's when we first got a lot of like more... We started getting more like advanced cards, so that's where we got MLB and, you know, Gigantic Overlord at the end. So these are a lot of like big fan favorite cards, and also they accelerate the game, and you know, you can actually do stuff. I had no idea what the hell any of these cards were. Maybe not had no idea. I have seen them from the anime, but I had no idea of like their impact. Especially because in the anime they stopped being a thing after they were played that one time. But I was aiming to try and get MLB like many of the other users were at the time, because MLB was just dumb good. So much so that they had to get nerfed. But instead, I got Scarlet Witch Coco like a gazillion times. And I was not too happy about that, I'll tell you that much. I got her 5 different times trying to pull for MLB. And it kind of sucked, not gonna lie. And I even tried to build the deck, and it didn't go too well. So, suffice to say, I was not a big fan. Big fan of Coco. But every time I would bring this up on streams or on videos or whatever the case may be, there was always someone that would show up and chastise me for being, you know, shitting on their favorite deck, Coco, telling me that that was their main deck, and no, the deck is really good and all this stuff. And like, I would never understand how is it that every time I said that, someone would show up and tell me that. It might be the case again now, but who knows. In any case, we're playing Witches with a new support. They got 3 new cards from the Fighters Collection here. Well, Witches got 2 cards, or Think Tank got 3, is what I'm trying to say. So suffice to say, we don't really have a lot of cards to play with. The Witch archetype in Oracle Think Tank at the moment is not very expensive. Okay, we got, thankfully, the draw trigger here. Musketeers right now have a very strong game 2, where they can push you to really far. But thankfully we won't be seeing that. But yeah, the Witches are very simple. There's just not a lot of cards for them. So thankfully they gave them a new grade 3 here in the Red Witch, I think it is. Cuckoo. She's like a pigeon or something like that. Rose Red Witch Cuckoo. She has a really cool effect on place. If you have no cards in your soul, or 1 or less, you can counterblast 1, draw 1, and then put something back into your deck. Let's get rid of Tom for now. We can actually go ahead and Stride. I was confused by the fact that they were on grade 2, so I guess they got grade stuck, which is unfortunate because I tried to record one of these before, and I got grade stuck, and I had to go and redo it. Ironically, it was a match where the opponent that I was facing used a grade 2 that I've added here. This grade 2, which lets you search for a grade 3 on hit. But in any case, none of that matters. This is one of the other new cards that we got. This is the Floral Witch Master Mimi. She has a crazy skill where if you have a Witch Vanguard or Heart card, you stride into her on place, discard a Witch, and next turn your opponent has to discard 2 cards, or they take 1 damage. No questions asked. If you have 2 cards, which is kind of weird, they don't really talk about this. If you have 2 cards, it doesn't say it in the effect, you have to discard them. Whether or not you want to and take the damage, you will discard them. So let's go ahead and play these 2 here. Rock Witch Gaga is very nice because she lets you filter. I am at 4, but I don't think they'll kill us next turn with 2 intercepts. So let's put that back. And let's go ahead and swing in here, draw a draw trigger, which we kind of need for next turn, to be honest. Well, not really. We can discard this and stride with this. So let's put the draw trigger back. Let's just swing in here, and I'm playing crits in this build because I want to push my opponent into as much damage as possible and make it so that discarding cards is a very difficult choice for them, as taking damage may not be an option. Because now, even though my opponent has 3 cards in hand, they have to discard 2, or they just lose the duel automatically. So now it goes to them, and before they even draw a card, they have to discard 2 cards. So they're going to go ahead and discard 2 grade 2s, draw 1. Unfortunately, be on grade 2 still, so I feel kind of bad that they're playing Musketeers and not, you know, Asha or anything like that. So, but let's see what they can do here. They do have the strength in that. Oh, that kind of sucks. They keep hitting all of their grade 3s from their search. But they do have the strength that Musketeers are alive, unlike GB1. Or like before GB. But yeah, that was just super unfortunate. Sorry about that, guy. So let's go over the deck here. Although, to be honest, there's not too much to talk about, because the deck is very simple. There's, again, not a lot of witch cards. First off, we have our starter here, which is Little Witch Lulu. So she does not have the Forerunner skill. She stays in your soul. Then, when you ride your grade 3 Vanguard, you can pull this out, play it on Rearguard Circle. Then on place, you Soul Blast 2 to draw 1 card. Which might sound like nothing major, but the reason that we play this is because we have to empty out our soul. Because witches, for Oracle Think Tank, they revolve around having 1 or 0 cards in your soul in order to get their effects, which is kind of odd, but that's just how it is, and this is the easiest way to do that. It just mean that your skills aren't live until grade 3, but at least they're live even before you stride, which is, you know, going first is a little bit more palatable, but to be honest, this deck you have to go second because your skill to like try and get your opponent to discard cards is very kind of useless if you stride second, because they've already gone through their stride turn and drew cards and done all that jazz. But in any case, Lulu's very good. The grade 1s are rather simple. We play 4 of the Stride Fodder. We don't play Susano because we need as many witches as possible, but we have to stride. So we play 4 of these. 4 countercharging PGs. We don't really have any other way to countercharge that's available, that's playable in this deck, because the only other card that lets you countercharge also makes you soul charge, which then turns off your no soul. We play 4 copies of the only witch grade 1 that we have, which is the Emerald Witch Lala. It just says if you have no cards in soul on place, discard 1, draw 1. Don't really use that skill, we kind of just use her as a booster or discard. And then we have the grade 1 Battle Sister Omelette here. She's not a witch, but she does benefit from the witch playstyle, where if you have no cards in your soul, she gets through K in the front row. You can play whatever you want here. I just couldn't really find anything else, so I kind of just threw her in there. We play 4 copies of the Battle Sister Glace, another card that is not a Battle Sister but benefits from a playstyle, because if you have no cards in your soul, she gets through K attack. Very good beater. And then we play 4 copies of Rock Witch Gaga. Gaga is really good because not only is she a witch, but when she attacks anything, could be Rearguard, could be on Vanguard Circle, could be on Rearguard Circle, could be attacking Vanguard, could be attacking Rearguard. Doesn't have to hit either. You just draw a card and then you put a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. So basically it's a cycle, but it lets you put triggers back, as you saw, which is really nice. But it can only be active when you have no cards in your soul. Then we have here 2 copies of this Oracle Agent Royce here, which just says on hit of Vanguard, Counterblast 1 look at top 5, add a grade 3 to your hand. Again, I started playing this because I bricked, and I got Great Stuck, like my opponent did in this match just now. I would show the footage, but I don't have it anymore, but I just got Great Stuck, and I was actually playing against witches, and they used this, and I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Originally I was playing 4 Toms and 1 of the like GB1 attacking Vanguard boosted Counterblast 1 to draw, but we are playing 3 of the Silent Tom here. You can play an additional copy if you'd like. This just says during battle that this attack, your opponent cannot Sentinel for that attack. That means that if your opponent has a PG in hand, it will not activate when Tom goes into attack. Heal Guards, however, will activate. which is something that kind of nerfed Tom, because he was kind of the main win condition for Oracle Think Tank, kind of continues to be that. But Witches kind of fixed that, because if we skip over the grade 3s and go to the new stride here, as we mentioned, this is Floral Witch Master Mimi. When placed, if you have a Witch Heart card, discard a Witch, your opponent has to discard 2 cards from their hand at the beginning of their turn, or they take 1 damage. And it's not even like the damage check, it just goes from top of deck to damage zones, no triggers applied. Then, if you have no soul, you can counterblast, draw 1. So, you discard, get a card back, which is not half bad. But what this does is it makes your opponent discard cards. It makes it very difficult for them to stride, do their plays, throw out rear guards. And in order to make sure that they can do these things, they typically have a choice most of the times between some random cards they don't need or between their guardians. So when it comes to either heal guard or PG, typically everyone's going to discard the heal guard because the PG can more than likely always be activated, unlike the heal guard. Unless, they have some sort of guard restrict. So that depends on the deck. But in this case, if they do that, then we can just go ahead and hit them with the Silent Tom, because all they'll have is PGs. PGs won't work. On top of that, that's why we also play the crits here. We have the 4 Scarlet Witch Coco as a crit. I was playing like 5 crit, and I tried 9 draw, but I was just drawing too many cards and overdrawing. And I think the crits are really important because they pressure your opponent to get to 5 quickly, so that the discard is a harder, decision for them to make. But also, it can waste their PGs earlier, and can also just make them want to keep their PGs in hand instead of the heal triggers, for example. But here is the legendary Scarlet Witch Coco. She got a buff recently where she used to be 10k base, now she's 11k base. This is right before, or right as G was started. She says during your turn, if your soul has no cards, she gets 3k. And then on place, if your soul has 1 or less cards, you can counterblast 2, draw 2 cards. So, not a big fan of this card. I actually just have her because she's a witch. Our main ride target is here, the Rose Red Witch Cuckoo, who I got an SP of, and she looks really dope. I'm hoping I can get 3 more. But she says when placed, if your Vanguard is a witch, you can, and if your soul has 1 or less cards, you can counterblast 1, draw 2, put 1 card on the bottom of your deck. So again, draw 2, put back triggers, nice filter, you do plus. But this could also be active on Rear Guard Circle, which is nice, so you can actually use it later on. That's also just counterblast 1 as opposed to Coco's counterblast 2. The last card of the deck here is Sky Witch Nana, which is just another witch name. If you have no cards in your soul, she gets 3k, which is fine. The rest of the G zone really doesn't matter. I never go into any of these things. I just prioritize on going into Mimi as much as possible. And that's about it. That's the deck. It's super simple. You just ride up, go into Mimi, discard a witch, try to push your opponent to 5, and hope that they lose just because they'd have no cards in hand. I would like to make this deck more aggressive to make my opponent waste more cards, but OTT doesn't really, from what I've seen, have that capability, especially with having to be stuck with witches. Hope you guys have been enjoying the accidental wave or influx of Vanguard Zero content. It wasn't necessarily my desire to upload so much Vanguard Zero stuff, but that's just kind of how it ended up being, just between Fighters Collection having so much stuff and now me doing, that free-to-play account from... I'm probably gonna have to keep Coco, huh? I can ride into this, we can put this back. From 0 and 0, so, which has been a lot of fun. It has reinvigorated my desire to play this, because there's a lot of fun little things on that side. And then Fighters Collection, of course, has a lot of things that I just want to mess around with, like witches, which I've really been looking forward to, thankfully. We drew into the Cuckoo here, so we can use that instead. But yeah, I am planning on doing at least this and the Shadow Witches. I don't know if they planned this, but for Fighters Collection we got 3 different witches from 3 different witch archetypes from 3 different clans getting supported. During Halloween, Spooky Monk and whatnot. That's pretty cool. So let's just play this. Looking forward to covering most of those. They just seem really sick. We're gonna have to throw away our witch here, and I guess this, because I do have the extra card. Hope we don't hit a crit. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, whew. At least now maybe they won't think that I don't have a crit. And yeah, I already have a deck for Shadow Witches, to Shadow Paladin Witches. I've been messing around with them a little bit. They're kind of sick, but they're kind of in this weird spot where they're super Counterblast reliant, but if you get it off, it's kind of nutty, the things that it does to the game state. But I'll have a video for that coming up eventually. I'm trying to work out Genesis Witches, which was an archetype that I really liked a lot before G. And that was kind of the only thing I was playing at the time. I don't know exactly how to build that just yet. But as I mentioned, it's very important that you stride first, because you see my opponent has 3 cards. Next turn, he has to discard 2 of those 3 cards. And then after that, they draw 1 and are forced to stride after that with whatever they've got. So we could put 1 card back. Let's obviously put the crit back. And then let's go ahead and stride here. We're going to use our stride fodder. Always use that as opposed to a witch, in case you have to discard a witch. There are a couple of times that I've just ran out of witches, which is very annoying, which is why I play the maximum copies. I do have 2 boosters, so I don't really need Lulu, is your name? Or is it Lala? Yeah, Lala. Thought so. You're Lulu, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead and use this skill here to draw 1. Alright, that's not bad actually. Do I want to throw out the Tom? Let's throw out the Tom, because they're gonna push us hard. This turn, or this coming turn, presumably. They are playing this alt mile. I think the other one like makes you play cards, or lets you play grade 2s from like your deck or something ridiculous. So let's see if we can. Oof, very good. Put some pressure on here with this crit and this heal. So that helps out. Those are amazing checks. 1 of each trigger. Heal down. Deny the heal. Put my opponent to 4 and draw a card into hand, get a Gaga for next turn. So now 3 cards in hand, and they have to discard 2 of them. They're going to discard Stride Fodder and PG, so they see the Tom and they're like, oh, gotta get rid of that. And that's the thing, like even if they pick up on Tom and they're like, actually I'll discard the PG. Fine. You don't want to have PGs, bro? That is all fine and dandy with me. So they got here 2 cards, they can call 2 cards from their hand. Here. And then that's kind of it, that's all they've got. So next turn, unless they hit 3 draw triggers, I'm going to push them pretty hard. And they are going to have to discard whatever they've got. And if they don't manage to hit all those triggers, they're just automatically going to lose, since I should be able to push 1 damage and then just win the game off of that. But we'll see how this goes. So we're going to attack with here. This lets them call out something. I think only 1 thing, right? Yeah, just 1 grade 3. So he is going to flip something. Or no. Okay, he calls out the Benzo, which he will then use to call out something else. Not entirely sure what, because he doesn't have any boosters or any strong boosters, so I'm not sure where this is going. He's going to call out another one of these. Okay. Gonna get the heal trigger, unfortunately, so that does dampen our plans, but they are kind of forced to take 1 damage next turn. No matter what. And then this guy, I think, is gonna be like 12. Yeah, it's gonna be 12k on my turn, which is fine. I just have to remember not to be stupid. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can push 2 damage here, but unfortunately we have no way to retire, so unless we get a crit, we're not gonna be able to do so. Let us... yeah, we'll discard Nana. Stride into Mimi. Hopefully draw a Lala. No. Stride Fodder, which, fine. That'll do. We'll discard Cuckoo. And let's go ahead and draw 1 here. I was hoping for something more that I can play, and not something that I would rather check. But, we're unfortunately gonna have to play her out here. And just swing in here. And hope we can hit a crit. That opponent that I was saying that I faced against, they actually ended up using... ooh, we did get a witch. So let's put this back. They did actually end up playing this with stands. I don't know how I feel about that. Come on, crit. Just give me 1 crit. We got a heal instead. That's a bit tragic. They are going to be pushed to 5 immediately, so there is that. And only have 1 card in hand. And just 1 regard on board. Oof, and they would have drawn into Stride Fodder, but they didn't. It automatically went to damage. Nice. Now they're just going to swing in here. This doesn't do anything on GB2, right? Yeah, it just gives them power, but doesn't like give him a crit or anything. Or restand or anything like that. So now he can just try and swing in here. He can do a PG check, or a Guardian check, I should say. And that's kind of about it. And that's why I'm saying you have to stride first. Because you can do so much damage to your opponent and their hand. Like, afterwards, it's kind of useless. Like how this guy, he just didn't have anything. Because he didn't have the fact that he can, you know, hit a bunch of draw triggers to fill up your hand. So this is just a very strange deck that if you go first, odds are in your favor, assuming you don't brick and, you know, like don't have any witches or anything like that. So if he hits 2 draw triggers here, he might be safe. But unfortunately, even if he hits 2 draw triggers into 2 PGs, he's still dead next turn. Unless I don't get Stride Fodder. Oh, this does let him draw a card. Okay, so he does have the way to discard. I will go for it anyways, even... Okay, never mind. We're just gonna win the game. Okay, they probably didn't draw into PGs or anything like that. Yeah. It is a very, naughty deck. Because it's very controlling. But hey, that's just how it be. Did not want to full screen that. Sorry about that. In any case, take care of yourself, play Vanguard, and have yourself a damn good one.